On today's Toy Spot, we're going to be looking at DC Universe Wave 9. This is the Superpowers variant of Mantis. Growing up in the 80s, you may or may not have owned a Superpowers version of Mantis. I know I certainly didn't, but it's nice, once again, that Mattel has given us a nod to some of the older collectors out there and have given us a Superpowers version of Mantis, as seen in the Superpowers toy line. But we'll talk more about that when we get the figure out. First, we'll look at the package. So the packaging doesn't really utilize a difference to the fact that this is a different figure, because it uses the same Mantis packaging, which is not really that big of a deal. On the back, the other figures in this wave, we got Wildcat, who also came with a variant. We got Deadshot Guardian, Black Canary, Mantis, the comic book modern version of Mantis. We got Black Adam and Green Arrow. Collect all 7. Ideally, though, you could really only collect all 6 if you wanted to build Camo, because Green Arrow also comes with a stand. But you can build the very impressive Camo. Also, I'm just going to take a moment to let you guys know, if you hear any noise in the background, I have 2 cats right now that are currently wrestling. So just giving you guys a heads up, just throwing it out there. The read-up on Mantis says, biography. Now granted, this biography is going to be the same as the other Mantis that I read, so there's not going to be anything different about it, but I'll read it anyways, just in case somebody's interested. Biography says, Mantis is a servant of Darkseid, ruler of Apocalypse, the planet of ultimate evil, and his power may rival that of his master. When Darkseid sent Mantis to Earth to locate the anti-life equation, the means to control all sentient life throughout the universe, Mantis schemed to conquer the planet himself instead. Cursed with an insatiable lust for power, Mantis would just as happy to see Darkseid defeated as he were to see Apocalypse triumph. Statistics, first appearance Forever People number 2, 1971, real name None, occupation villain, base of operations Apocalypse, special abilities, enhanced strength, flight, able to absorb any power source, heat generating, thermal touch, and can imprison foes in self-generating ice, antimatter touch, destroys all matter. So that's packaging in a nutshell. What we'll do is we'll get this guy opened up and we will have a better look at the variant of Mantis. So stay tuned. Alright, we'll get the collect and connect piece out of the way, being that this is a variant to the modern comic version of Mantis. He is also going to share the exact same piece that the other Mantis came with. So if you, like myself, have already collected and connected Camo, and you have picked up this variant, you will have yourself an extra arm. That extra arm could probably go along with the extra torso that you would have received with the Wildcat, and you would have had 2, I guess, out of the 6 pieces required to build another Camo. But it does come with the arm. We'll just put that aside. And of course, still coming up is the review of Camo. But in the meantime, let's look at Mantis. And again, a great nod to 80s fans, or anyone really, that collected the 80s toy line of Superpowers. The figure is an exact copy, it seems, almost an exact copy to the Superpowers version of Mantis. Also a little interesting bit of information. Mantis was one of the very few Superpowers figures that actually had additional articulation in his hands. I do believe his claws could actually rotate, which this DC Universe figure also does have. He can rotate at the claw also. It may not be necessarily for everybody, and I can't really see a lot of people picking this figure up, but if you already have the Steppenwolf, if you have the DC Superheroes Brainiac, certainly if you have Lex Luthor in his battle suit, There's a couple of figures out there, Firestorm as well if you wanted to put him in the mix, but you could build and display a really impressive DC Superpowers collection. And of course, DC Universe Wave 12 had the Superpowers version of Desaad as well. So I like that Mattel is continuing along and still giving us Superpowers versions of all these characters. I really like that. Now, in the way of his articulation, he has an articulated head. It's a little more. It seems like it's still a ball-jointed head, although it really only wants to move back and forth. He has the ball-jointed shoulders. You can still rotate at the bicep, bend at the elbow, and you can rotate at the claw, or I guess where his wrist would be. He has a mid-torso crunch. Despite the fact that this piece is here, you almost look at it and think that there is no articulation there, but it does actually bend as well. You can rotate at the waist. You can bend the leg in and out, back and forth. Now it doesn't bend forward too much just because this piece right here, as soon as it hits the waist, it doesn't let you go any further. But you can bend back, you can bend out. You can rotate at the thigh, you can bend at the knee, and you can bend finally at the foot. Much like with most figures, the Mantis has feet holes, or holes in the bottom of his feet that you can display if you find him a little too heavy, top heavy. But a nice figure. It is a really nice figure. Again, not everyone's cup of tea, because maybe if you didn't collect Superpowers, you may not find this very interesting. But if you did collect Superpowers, this figure is something you want to pick up. For that reason, and for that reason really alone, I'm going to give Mantis here a 5. I didn't have this figure growing up, and I'm still going to put him on display with the other Superpowers figures that have been released. But because I didn't own him as a kid, I mean, if I had owned him, I might have given him maybe a higher number, but I'm still going to give him a 5. That was a toy spot. Today we were looking at the Superpowers variant of Mantis. And you know what that means, guys? There's one more review left. Oh, someone's scrapping in the background. That's one more review left before we do a review, finally, of the Collect and Connect piece of Camo. Anyone want to take a guess what that one figure is? No? Well, he's coming up next, guys. One more review of DC Universe Wave 9. And in the meantime, we were looking at the Superpowers Mantis. So I will take off here. Hope you guys enjoyed yourselves. Hope you enjoyed the review. And I'll see you guys for the next spot.